Dr. Kirunani, for sacrificing your precious time was during such super busy period. And thank you for participating in this webinar. Thank you very much, everybody. As you know well, today is Dr. Kirunani, the chairman of PSRI Institute of Pulmonary and the Authority of Critical Care and Sleep Medicine, will give us the lecture on COVID-19. This webinar will be just 1 hour, but let's learn as much as time allows and increase our knowledge for the sake of ourselves and our family and our colleagues. Thank you very much. So, Professor Kirunani, please start. Thank you very much.
So I need to share my screen, so you need to help me because it's saying that host disabled participant screening sharing. So,
yes, sir. Give me a second, please. I will do it.
Yeah.
It's done, sir.
Okay, all right. So control is with you. So,
Sato-san and myself both can do, sir.
yeah. It's good to have control with the lady. Things go right. So thank you very much, Mr. Sato, and I don't know how to pronounce your name. I know you're English, but it's not sacrificing my time. It's a question of utilizing my time. If I can impart some information, some knowledge to my friends, I'll be very happy. And how do I? What's happening? Yeah, so I'm here. So I'm delighted to be with you all. I guess medium should be in English. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So my purpose will be served if I am able to instill some basic information to you, and I would be more happy if we have more time for question and answers, because I can't boast that I know more about Corona than you guys know, because for last 9 months we are only listening to Corona, reading about Corona. Google Baba is teaching a lot of Corona to everybody. So, but just for the sake of completion, I'm not going to tell you how it is transmitted and how it is, but we have to complete the protocol. So I think I'll spend 30 minutes on or less on my presentation, and if there'll be lots of time if you people have any questions. And may I request all of you to please mute yourself so that we can have it smoothly. So we all know that coronavirus is new, but actually novel coronavirus is new. Coronavirus is prevalent all over. We keep having corona infections in the form of viral illness, but this particular virus, which came from China, is called COVID-19, and this name has been given by World Health Organization because it was not seen before 2019, and normally coronavirus would call any common cold. It's very common for us to, if somebody is not coming to office for 4 days and you ask them what happened, so he'll say, oh, I got viral. So viral means a mild illness, fever, cough, running nose, body ache, and other thing we use this viral term, that this news has become viral, meaning thereby that it spreads very fast. So coronavirus also is like any viral illness. It spreads very fast. It causes fever, cough, body ache, headache. Person become indisposed. But over and above, the peculiar thing is that this is different in the sense that it causes pneumonia, it can cause heart problem, and we know that more than 10 lakh people have already died with virus. Since it was a new virus which supposedly came from some animal sources, some livestock market from where it came. So we didn't know about it, but we must try to know what it is, because it varies, the impact varies. It's not like a usual influenza virus that family, everybody suffers and after a few days everybody goes to work. It's not like this. There are certain people who are more at risk of death. And if you have people above 60 years of age in your home, be careful, that you must not carry this virus home. But in India, a large proportion of people are of the working age, and to start with, the fatality rate was about 3% in India, more than 3% actually. In Italy, North Italy, it went as much as 12%. So 12% means if the 100 get 8 would die, something like that. So it is and then the transmission is from person to person. That of course you see, these two people are there. They are not more than 2 meters apart. So they are likely to transmit. The good thing is that while speaking normally, while breathing normally, this virus does not go beyond 6 feet. That's why the Prime Minister said, "Do gaz ki duri hai bahut zaruri." But scientifically speaking, if somebody coughs violently, it will go on for even 10 meters. So this 2 meters is not sacrosanct, although it is a heavy virus. And when you cough and sneeze, but other thing is that it is transmitted by surface also. Surface means that you are holding a glass of water, and if somebody else also, if you are infected with the coronavirus, so you with your hands, the virus will be surviving on the glass, and somebody else touches it, and he touches his mouth, nose, and then he gets infected. So it can be a keyboard, it can be a monitor, it can be a mouse or whatever. The non-living things will also, the virus can stay and survive, and these are technically called as fomites. And we all know that whenever there is a gathering, birthday party, marriage party, or religious gatherings, the outbreak occurs. To give you some kind of information, in the Western world, 80 people were traveling in an air-conditioned bus for a period of 2 hours. 60 people got it from one person. So it is as contagious as that. So how it is transmitted? Now these are the two people. This lady is suffering. She is throwing droplet. As I said, the normal breathing, the droplets won't go beyond 1 meter. So this person is relatively safe because they don't go beyond this. But the fomites, as I said, but these will be falling on the ground, or if there is something else is lying there, so the droplets will fall on those table or chair or whatever. So this is Mr. A is having corona infection. B is very close to him. So when he coughs or talks or sneezes or shouts or screams or cries, he throws a volley of droplets. These are small droplets and bigger droplets. So he inhales those droplets through his mouth and nose. It goes into the lung. But Mr. C is safe. But over a period of time, what we have learned that these droplets don't get confined there. They remain in atmosphere for at least for 3 hours. So airborne transmission, which was thought not to be there, is actually now is there. So we know. So if you are working in an air-conditioned environment where the air is usually circulated, the same air is circulated, so there is a very high risk of airborne transmission in those areas. At least for 3 hours this remains. So as I said, that one person can infect large number of people. This fellow is throwing the droplets, This can go to a person. This can fall on the fomites, as I said. It could be table or then our fingers are touching them, and then this through the hands, it goes into the lung, through the mouth and nose. It can go through the eyes also, but much less commonly. And the droplets can remain in the air, and then it goes into the lung. So primary site of infection remains first the throat. That is why sore throat is a very common. So one patient, by transmitting this disease, can go to large number of people, and it is said, it is estimated that if the one person is infected, and if you don't follow any infection control practices, by 1 month, by 30 days, 406 patients will be there. So it is as contagious as that. So there is something called RO scale that actually speaks of transmission. So one person in a day's time infect 2.5% as far as COVID is concerned, and these are about Ebola and MERS and SARS. These both are coronaviruses. So now what are the fomites? Fomites are like, you have plastic spoon, you have a stainless steel, you have a cardboard boxes, you get online order, you order food, you can order grocery. So, and this is the air. As I said, in the air it remains for a period of 3 hours, and air conditioned ducts would be a very important source of transmission of this virus. But on plastic it remains viable for 2 to 3 days, on stainless steel for 2 to 3 days, on cardboard 24 hours, and on copper and 4 hours. Now please try to understand that these are not sacrosanct, in the sense that if you got a cardboard box and you look at your clock that it is 8 o'clock in the morning, and next day 8 o'clock sharp, you will say, okay, now the virus is not there. No, it's not like this. These are arbitrary time intervals which are based on the studies. So if my suggestion would be, if you have got a cardboard box, if you don't want to touch it, and it doesn't have a perishable item, you keep it for 3 days where you don't touch it. After that you can be certain that it is, but don't touch it within 24 hours, or else you sanitize your hands. So this is the way, this is about the introduction of virus and how it is transmitted. Now, what are the symptoms? As I said, everyone knows the most important symptoms are similar to what you get at flu, or the viral illness as we call it, like fever, cough, running nose, shortness of breath, and cough, and difficulty in breathing. That is a sinister sign. So if somebody has fever, sore throat, body ache, headache, and then he becomes short of breath, that means he has got severe pneumonia. He needs to be admitted into the hospital or in the ICU. But there are some other symptoms which we have learned over a period of time. That is loss of sense of taste and smell. And this is very, very peculiar of this viral disease. The loss of sense of smell is so bad, the parents who have a infant in their house, they don't even realize that infant has done potty. Even that strong smell is not recognized. People just lose that sense of taste. They don't know what they are eating. And this is, if somebody has to today, even without fever, one should think about corona. The first study which came in the February from Wuhan, published in the best of journals, medical journal, that is New England Journal of Medicine, only 44% of the patients had fever to start with. So 60%, almost 60% patients didn't have fever, and 20% patients didn't have fever at all. And about 5% patients got had to be hospitalized, and 2.3%, 5% went into the ICU, 2.3 required mechanical ventilation, and 1.4% died. That was a study on 1,099 patients. So, of course, it came from China, we all know, and today we have more than close to 4 crore cases we are reaching, and India is catching up now. It has become number 2, and maybe it will become number 1 because Indian population is so big. And in India, of course, Maharashtra, Delhi, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Gujarat are actually leading the numbers. So that's not the topic. We all know about it. Now I come to the main topic for which we are here. How can you reduce the chance of getting COVID? Look at the word chance. Whatever you may do, there's always a chance of getting COVID infection. It's so contagious, so contagious. But you have to do your best to minimize the transmission. First and foremost is the cleanliness and the personal contact has to be avoided. Of course, everybody should declare. Now, what has happened these days is that people do become unwell and they have a mild fever or body ache or sore throat. They go for a rapid antigen test, which the report is available within say 1 hour, and it became negative and they feel secured. But actually, that rapid antigen test will pick up only 50% of cases. 50% will be false negative. So these people, instead of isolating themselves, they say no, I am COVID negative. So they keep roaming around. So it is the duty of the person who is unwell to isolate himself and not to come in contact. Important thing is that one study showed that we touch our face 80 to 90 times in a day inadvertently, and it is important that one must not do that. One should change your habits of touching your nose, eyes, and mouth, and if you use the mask, automatically it comes into practice. And stay home when sick, and even when you want to cough or sneeze, there is what is called as cough etiquette. If you are carrying a handkerchief or if you have a tissue paper around you, just pick it up and cough into a handkerchief or a tissue paper and dispose it properly in a closed trash box. If you don't have either, you should cough into your elbow. That is called cough etiquette. Otherwise, you will be throwing a lot of viruses if you have to a very large extent and to the large area. Other thing is washing hands. Everyone knows that you have to keep your hands clean frequently without any purpose. You keep hand washing for 20 to 30 seconds, and there's a particular technique for that. And if you don't have facility of soap, water, and a wash basin, then you should use a sanitizer. When you use a sanitizer, then you must ensure that it must contain at least 60% of alcohol. So read the bottle that you are using, and then of course socializing is absolutely forbidden these days till the time corona pandemic is there. And I have a personal knowledge when 5 people had lunch together. One fellow was asymptomatic but positive. All 5 became positive. In a meeting of 8 people, all 8 became positive. So therefore, it is important that in your offices, there's always a tendency to sit down and have a cup of tea. It's actually relaxation. You don't enjoy your tea unless you have company. You want to have lunch together, sit down together. But these days, my advice would be that, you must not do that. Have tea. You don't sit with your friends because you have to remove the mask. And you don't know who is positive. And believe me, I am a pulmonary physician. I see loads of cases on online consultation with COVID. And they are able to pinpoint, yes, in my office, there's one person who was symptomatic and became positive. So I got exposed. Now, if you were using a mask and the social distancing, and if that person was also using mask, there was a fair chance that you would have escaped. So, Other thing is that you feel that whatever is more expensive is good, which may be correct. But you don't have to use N95 mask. N95 mask we use when we do surgeries or we do bronchoscopies. And if you have used N95 mask properly, then you will become breathless. You will feel suffocated. Your exhalation, that is breathing out, will be strenuous, and so therefore it is not advisable for general people who are not involved with the patient care to use N95 mask. You can use a surgical mask or homemade cloth mask, which are now available, washable mask. You can use it, but important thing is that cover from the tip of the nose to below chin. And if you are using spectacles, then your spectacles become foggy. That means your mask is not properly fitted. There is an air leak, and if there is a leak is there, the air will always pass through the area of least resistance. So the whole purpose of mask will be gone. And if you have fever, if you have a fever, or if you have a, call your doctor. You tell him about the contact. Majority of time, not always, especially those who work in offices, they are able to say that I got it from a person who later on became positive or was positive or was symptomatic. And doctor will determine whether it should be needed. As far as the testing is concerned, there are two types of tests are available. One is rapid antigen test. Another is RT-PCR. I guess you know all about it. The rapid antigen test has an advantage of being very quick. It is less expensive. The result is available within an hour's time. But as I said, the disadvantage is that if it is positive, it is positive. But if it is negative, there is still possibility of this being positive. So what is the utility? If you have actually a fever, headache, sore throat, cough, body ache, and if a rapid antigen test becomes positive, you immediately take action. If it is negative, then you should go for RT-PCR. On the other hand, if you have no symptoms, you have no contact, you have just gone for a screening, and if your test is negative, then you can relax and not do test. So 3 C's should be followed. Avoid wash hands, clean surfaces, avoid contact with people who have been exposed. Transmission is more likely in crowded areas, and you need to stay fit during the COVID. For that, you need to be in a good mental health. And before I close, I would like you to understand that air-conditioned environment is a very bad environment, because more than 90% of air is recirculating. So if you have a facility then of opening the windows, you must open the window during the office hours. You actually don't know who is harboring coronavirus, because one, there is a large proportion of people who have no symptoms and they are having corona infection. There are a large proportion of people who are pre-symptomatic. 3 days before the symptoms arise, the throat contains virus and one is throwing viruses into the atmosphere. Therefore, it is important that if you are in an air-conditioned environment, other tendency is for a person, when you sit on your computer, you don't have anybody around you, you pull down the mask and say that nobody is around me, unless you have a chamber to yourself. Even if you have that, keep the mask on all the time. That is, and of course the distancing should be maintained. So stay fit, stay in a good mental health, and have a balanced diet, have fruits, you have sufficient physical activity. Sleep is very important. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is important. Relieve the stress. Everybody is stressed because of corona. There are a lot of sleep disturbances because of the because of the lack of social activities, outdoor activities. There are more altercations at home, that I understand. You have to boost your immunity by taking good vegetables and good fruit and a balanced diet, sufficient physical activity, and enough sleep. The medical practice has changed completely. You see, this is an Indore government hospital. You see these doctors who are normally look so smart and good, they are all like monsters, like astronauts. And instead of seeing the patient from the close quarters, you keep the patient at least 2 meters away, and sometimes we keep a transparent barrier also, so that doctors don't get affected. So the practice has changed, the life has changed, and the frequently asked question is when the vaccination would come, when we would have a life which we used to have 9 months back or 8 months back. I really don't have those answers for that. Maybe only the time will tell. So, ladies and gentlemen, summarizing it, that it is a respiratory illness, coronavirus, which can be fatal. We can prevent by the spread and by all these things. And I want to tell you something, before I finish, that we still don't have a very effective antiviral therapy. Whatever drugs we have got very, very little and sometimes questionable activity. Corticosteroids have been helpful in reducing the mortality in moderate and severe cases. Only supportive treatment has reduced the mortality. So it is the lifestyle changes which is going to help. Clean your surfaces with hypochlorite solution. Cover your mouth and nose while coughing. And remember 3 C's. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your. As promised, I have finished in 30 minutes, and I would be very happy to take any questions if you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kelnani, for valuable inputs. I would like to request all the members. We have a Q&A session now. So
Yeah.
in case you have any questions, please feel free to ask Dr. Sun.
So, before, what kind of offices you have? They are all closed offices, air conditioned.
Closed office,
Yeah.
ne? Basically.
Yes, sir.
So, that's why I was emphasizing. I realized looking at you.
Sato-san is showing you some glimpse of the office.
Okay.
No, not like it, but okay. So,
No, I can
Okay.
understand. Looking at your faces, I can make out what kind of offices you have. So, that's the thing.
But
That's
so
the
mostly
thing.
we are working from home nowadays.
Yeah, but someday, even working from home, one has to be careful going to the market, going to the. I have not gone into that part of it, but as a person who has followed this disease right from the and written a lot and published in medical journals also. So one has to see what I'm seeing these days is if I go to the market and I worked in AIMS for 30 years. And there's a market called Yusuf Sarai. I don't know how many of
Yes,
you
sir.
know that market. And I used to cross that market every evening. And it used to take me 10 minutes to cross that market because by 7, 8 o'clock it was so crowded. And a week back I was returning for some purpose from that road. It was the same. So people have not learned the lesson so far that one has to exercise restraint, and everybody likes to go to market, see things and pick up things, and but more you expose yourself to people, there's a more chances of contracting infection. So we have to realize that, especially the festive season is coming, the temperature is dipping. Other thing is that more the air pollution, more the mortality with COVID. That has been proven from Italy, from United States and Germany. And pollution is coming. The AQI is already touched 300, and every Diwali we have a catastrophe. So just don't want to scare you, but want you all to be careful. If you are listening to this deliberation.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you very much. Team members, please ask freely about any query, any doubts.
Rajula Kapoor is raising hands. You have to
Ranjula.
unmute yourself.
Ranjula.
Ranjula.
Please, please.
You have to unmute yourself and then speak, please.
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening.
My question to you is, if a person gets infected once with COVID, can he be infected once again once he becomes negative?
That's a very good question, very common question. We have had almost 3.5 crores of patients, corona patients all over the world. So far, there are only about 20 cases of reinfection. So therefore, you should take chances as zero. That is almost close to zero. Having said that, mutations are well known in viral diseases like in influenza and also in corona. So once a person has got corona infection, he should not go out with the flag that, oh, I've already got it, so I can not get it. He should follow that preventive measures. But my answer to question is that no, it doesn't occur.
Okay, right. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else, please?
Yes, one hand is there. Yeah, please.
Doctor, thank you very much for the nice, guidance to us. I have a
Lovely.
question because since many of the infections and people have got infected and they are asymptomatic, what I have been reading is that many people did not even know or they were aware that they got infected and they got cured also or recovered. So, for this kind of a situation, is it helpful, in your opinion, to go for an antibody test? Because then, if you were infected, probably you would have antibodies in your body, and then if you know that, there could be some relief knowing that you might not get infected again so easily or so soon.
That's a very intelligent question, I must say. Now the antibodies are formed average on 14th day of illness, and those who have severe disease, they have more antibodies. Those who are asymptomatic, they are likely to have less antibodies, because antibodies denote immunity, and immunity is the one which causes inflammation. That's for the general knowledge. The utility of antibodies test as far as corona is concerned as on today is only for the finding out donor. If somebody has got corona infection and on 28th day we test him, he is antibody positive, then he can be a potential donor for convalescent plasma therapy. Second use is to find out the seroprevalence as we call it. Like in Delhi, initially it was 23% and it rose to 29%. Dharavi, it was further higher. That gives an information that this much people are already infected and they have antibodies in their blood. And it is important when you are looking at the herd immunity. The herd immunity is said when 60 to 70% of the people in that particular area have got antibodies. Now, having said that, every test has a false positivity and negativity. So therefore, if you test yourself, suppose you didn't have any symptom, and if you test yourself as antibody negative or positive, either way it is not 100%. So it doesn't help you in either, becoming free of total corona or being 100% sure that you are already 100% immune to it. And having said that, we do not know, even if you are positive, how long antibodies would last. So far, the evidence is that by fourth month, end of fourth month, 90% antibodies do last. I don't know whether I'm confusing you or clarifying, because I'm making a lot of very intricate thing very simplified. So if I could summarize it for you, there's no need for you to go for antibody test just for the sake of knowing that whether you are already exposed, because the interpretation of result will not be absolute.
With this very important, I would say, point came to my mind. Rather, we were discussing about this amongst some of our team members yesterday. Uh, of course, we know the symptoms or a common flu is almost same: coughing, running nose, fever, etc. So, how soon would you advise us to go for COVID test? Once we get these symptoms.
Okay, very good question. Because the test is expensive.
Yes.
It is one has to go to the testing center where you don't want to go because there will be other patients also there, and you may call a person home. That's about it. So my answer is going to be multi-pronged. If you talk about 6 months back, we were testing only when people had travel history or the contact history. That means person came from United States or United Kingdom or Europe or Germany or China. Then surely, even if you have slightest symptoms, we were testing. Otherwise, it was not advised. The second stage came that if you had a history of contact with the patient, then if you have slightest symptom, then you should test. Now, if you talk about Delhi, Gurgaon, Faridabad, and NCR today, the prevalence rate is so high, and I'm sure I can bold enough to say that there is community transmission. So you really don't know whether you are where it came from. Even if you had COVID, you may not know from where it came from. You may know, you may not know. So therefore, if you have a fever on the first day, and if you don't want to be tested, if you have fever, running nose, and if you don't want to be tested, the least you should do is to isolate yourself. Do not move around. And there are, from my experience, I'm telling you, because I see so many patients on online consultations every day. If the person has loss of sense of smell or taste, there's no question that he should be tested. If he has a fever along with sore throat, then he must be tested. Now, somebody who is used to getting running nose, like he has allergic rhinitis, and he has running nose and no fever, no body ache, no headache, and he has got a history of having had recurrently, he is unlikely to have corona. So, if I could summarize it for you, in my experience, sore throat and with or without fever, with body ache, is a symptom which is extremely important, and it should caution you, and it calls for testing. And if you don't want to test, please isolate till the time you have washed yourself. If you are in the contact with the person, I'm taking the discussion a little ahead. Suppose you are in contact with a person who is diagnosed COVID and you are asymptomatic. So you quarantine yourself. Either you quarantine yourself for a period of 14 days, or 6th day you get yourself tested. Either. So have I answered your question?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's very useful for many of us who has doubts about this. Thank you very much.
So if you have no more questions, then I'll call it a day. And
Can I ask one question? Sorry.
yeah, please.
Yes, Sanjay San, please.
Our time is till 4 o'clock, so we will still have time.
That's a very general question, but I want to hear it from a medical expert actually. What are the chances of the vaccine?
No, it's not a general question. It's a very specific question. And
I think most people are not clear and nobody knows what is happening. So I would like to ask you this question.
I recently was on a TV program where I was there, and from WHO, Dr. Soumya was there. So I told the anchor, please don't ask me about vaccines.
Okay, so no clarity.
That's in a lighter vein. But
Okay.
I'm studying this subject right from the beginning. But don't expect it before March next year. We expect it in March, April, it will come. And even if it comes in January, February, by the time it reaches the masses, it won't be before March, April. And who would be the people who will get it first is also a question, because it will not be that the vaccine, it will not be equal to the world population, the number of vaccines which will be produced in the beginning. In the beginning, it will be given to the more susceptible people, which could be elderly, hypertensive, those who have diabetes and all those things. There
Medical
may be
workers.
some, I didn't want to say that, otherwise you think you are selfish, but that's but those
No, but
who
I
are
think
more,
you guys deserve that more than anybody else.
more at risk. But there are, I should not be sounding pessimist, but we actually don't know. This vaccine, as it comes, there are 40 candidate vaccines which are being tried. How effective it would be, how much time it will take for it to develop the actual immunity, how much the immunity would last, what would be the side effects. And like hepatitis C, which causes a liver disease, is the RNA virus. It has been in existence for 21 years and we haven't had the vaccine so far. Not that people are not trying. But corona is different because whole world, scientific world is trying to get a vaccine, and we are we are in the phase 2-3 trial, which are going on. And I am aware of some of the trial where after 28 days of the vaccine dose, the antibody was formed. So there's a lot of good news coming in, but not before March, to my mind.
Right, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Any other team member? If you have any questions, please.
Doctor, this is Pradeep Sharma.
Yes, Pradeep.
I want to ask question about the impact of COVID on kids. Are they immune, or there are less chances of getting them affected? So this point I wanted to clarify.
They are okay. One, that they are not immune. There have been some very serious side effects and mortality also, especially in infants. That means less than 1 year of age. But by and large, the children between say 1 and 15 have got less severe disease and mortality is extremely low. So that way they are sort of relatively safe. This is a paradox, because majority of other infections are known to be more serious in children less than 5 years of age. But fortunately, corona is not like that. But they are not immune.
Okay, sir.
They get milder disease.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So, all right. Thank you so much from my hospital side and my personal side.
So we would like take 2 minutes more from you. First of all, from on Marubini's behalf, I would like to thank you very much for sparing your precious time and giving such valuable inputs. I'm sure everyone will take benefit from these. Our chairman and managing director, Mr. Suzuki, would like to say a few words now. So please stay with us for a few more minutes.
No, I'm here. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Kirinari, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
On behalf of Marubeni Group, I express deep gratitude to your contribution to all of us. Thank you. So your presentation was very helpful. It's basic knowledge, but basic knowledge help us to understand how to deal with COVID-19. So fighting with COVID-19 is really long and tough because it's invisible. But really, thanks to your presentation, we understand what we have to do. So thank you very much once again. And I wish you and your team, your family, be safe and healthy.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish you same. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzuki-san. Thank you, Dr. Khilnani. And thank you all the team members for joining. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It was indeed a pleasure interacting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.